My name is Zach Morton, NFL linebacker, and today I'm joined by a true leader on the field, Coach Larry Scott of Howard University. Coach, how you feeling today?
I'm doing well, Zach.
I know you guys are in the bulk of spring ball right now, so can you just walk us through what the typical spring week is for you guys?
Oh man, I tell you, we for the first time this year, as traditionally as you may remember, Zach, when you were playing, obviously we only get 15 practices in spring, five of which are still in the acclimation period before you can actually have contact and those type of things. But it's a whole lot of skill development. So we like to build our spring ball around fundamental technique and toughness. So we spend a lot of time on not just our schemes and things like that, but more importantly, how to play the game. And the things that you need to do to become a better football player. So we work after things foundational, like increasing our football intelligence. Early back in January, we'll, along with our lifts and runs, we'll do, meetings, just not around installing and scheming and those type of things, but just around basic football. As an NFL player, if you move around the league and you have the ability to do that, you have to have a really good football IQ. At the end of the day, it's still all the same thing as blocking, tackling, leveraging gaps, hammering, spilling, all those type of things that you have to do to be a good defensive player. But having a great understanding and knowledge of that gives you an opportunity to be able to go play in any scheme and be able to adapt to whatever the verbiage and those things that you have to be able to play. So we pride ourselves on having really bright minds here as athletes and football players. So we build around that. We build our model around the fact that we have smart guys that playing the game at an elite level from an intelligence standpoint means a lot. And it's our edge that we create here to help us win.
Thank you for that. And the fans don't get to see the majority of this process. So from their last time seeing you in 2024, heading into 2025 for this spring showcase, spring game, what is the main thing that you want fans to see from this new Howard football team?
Man, that's a really good question, Zach. I think because every program takes on a new life of itself, right? Every team from January and everybody from the NFL to college football works hard in those quiet months, right? When nobody's listening, nobody's really watching, you're reshaping your roster, you're recruiting, or in the NFL, you're drafting and doing free agency and doing all those things. And you retool, right? It's a hard reset after each and every year. And Howard, we're unique because it is a very hard reset. We play. We actually have to move differently than most universities as far as our academic profile that we have to recruit to. We cannot be a transfer portal program. We won't be built on transfers due to the fact that it's hard to get in from an academic standpoint for those guys who haven't reached a certain point academically. So we can only take one-year transfers, first-year transfers, and they better be pretty bright students that done well where they were, or a grad transfer. Nowhere in between can we go to the portal and take a guy that has 2 years of eligibility left, 3 years of eligibility left. Our academic admission requirements don't allow for us to do that. So we have to do a great job of developing and building from the bottom up, like I said, foundational. And we have to recruit really hard here to our profile. That's why we just walked out of a 3-hour long recruiting meeting that we do 2 times a week. So we spend 6 hours a week as a staff evaluating kids from all over the country and making sure that they fit not only who we are as football players and have the skill set and things that we need to build a baseline to develop and make, really good players, but that they can have the academic requirements and the academic acumen that come here and handle being here at Howard and the rigors that come with that. So we have to obviously do all those things. So we have to go about it a different way. So what I wanted to see in this showcase is just a group of guys that are hungry. They understand who we are and how we're built. We don't run away from those things and shy away from those things. People can retool and rebuild their rosters all they want. We'll do the best that we can that fits who we are. We're going to have pride in who we are at Howard. And while we play football, we've won 2 championships that way already. Stubbed our toe a little bit last year, but this is a group that's hungry. Right? This is a group that was willing to go back to the basics really hard come January 1 when we're training in 37-degree weather, 36, 34-degree weather in the mornings. And most people are training in some comfortable, situations. And we're on the asphalt. We're running hills here. We're doing all type of things to shape that mindset and that mentality that multiple things can be true at the same time. We can be very bright in the classroom and in our community and serve our community and do all those things and be really good football players too at the same time that have the ability to win championships and go on to play football, on years beyond their years at Howard. So we're producing pros here and guys that have the development and mindset of process. And you don't get to skip process. I don't care where you are. And a lot of guys that do transfer and those type of things, they're ducking and running smoke or running and ducking different things in situations that when times get tough, they feel like it's just, it's ample for them to just run it or go find another destination or find another situation when at the end of the day, the only common theme with that is you and who you are. You bring your set of problems from one place. If you're not a hard worker, if you're not committed, all you're doing is removing that and taking it to another place. So at the end of the day, our guys are going to know that they got to be built on true process, be willing to endure the process and the adversity and the goods and ebb and flows and the goods and bads that come with that. Be willing to endure those things and put their head down every day and go to work on being the very best version of themselves they can be every day. So I want everybody to see a much improved, much more developed physically. We spend a lot of time in the weight room and on our nutrition, on getting bigger, stronger, and faster. So you'll see our guys now. A lot of them are out there now. They're 8 to 12 to 15 pounds heavier than what they were with muscle. We've reshaped our bodies. We've gotten into really good condition. We're a smart football team, and we're a team that went back to the basics to endure process and accountability in the small details, which matter most when times get hard. So we went through a hard reset, and we went back to the basics day one, year one of building this program, and I believe we're going to be built right. You'll be able to hear and see the football that's being played now here. The guys are enthused, they're excited, they're accountable, they're detailed. And so I think the biggest difference you're going to see is how we're playing the game. And therefore, you'll see an elevated version of who we were in the 2024 season.
Great. And you also mentioned how much time you guys spent in recruiting, but now with the development of the HBCU Combine and attention that the HBCU is getting, how does that shape your recruitment? Like how is that a tool? Because now more than ever, it's more accessible for the HBCU players to get to the NFL.
Yeah, I think guys are wising up to the opportunity. All we ask for in this lifetime and anything that you choose, right, is just the opportunity. I tell our guys every day, the blessing is the opportunity. Don't miss the opportunity that you have. And at the end of the day, you have to water your own grass, be where your feet are, take care of the things that you control. And these are life lessons that if you start to apply them at 18, between the ages of 18 to 22, I promise you find yourself in a much better situation as not only a football player, but one day as a leader, one day as a husband, one day as a father. So we're trying to talk about developing those process-driven things that keep people humble. And I think what's going on right now is you see the transformation of how young people and how young athletes are thinking about the opportunity. And the opportunity to just, to go play football, to be, in a culture, in an environment where you can be unapologetically who you are each and every day as you move around, as you walk around, to be fostered academically by people who care about the person, not the athlete, but the person that you are, the man that you're becoming. It is something that you can't put a price tag on. And to have an opportunity to do it at an HBCU, I'm just going to talk about our HBCU right now, Howard University, is truly an opportunity and truly a blessing that one must come and stand in and relish in the opportunity and make the very best of it each and every day. I think what you see is a much more culturally aware group of people, a group of athletes now that understand that the brand doesn't build them anymore. Me going to the University of Florida is not going to build me anymore. I have NIL. I have the capability of building my own brand in my own environment the way that I see fit, the way that they have much more ownership now and what that brand looks like for them and can represent themselves truly as who they are, no matter where they are. But at the end of the day, they're becoming more aware to being in an environment that's safe, that's wholesome, that also they know that they're going to develop as a man and as a person too, because that's what happens here. That's what happens in this nurturing, very tough, very loving environment that allows them to be the best version of themselves, just not as an athlete, just not as a football player. And they see that that all their dreams, goals, and aspirations can still happen here in multiple ways, not just on the football field, but in the classroom, in the connections and networks that you make and meet with people that are going to go on to be doing, great things in life, going to be judges, going to be bankers, going to be lawyers, and those are going to be your friends, going to be doctors. And those are the type of connections and circles that you gain from being in a place like Howard, from being at HBCUs. That's the environment. And so not only can I foster and grow and be the very best football player I want to be, but I'm growing in other aspects of being a man that are going to help fulfill my life the rest of my life, not just the 8, 10, 6 years or whatever it is that I'm fortunate to play the game. But the blessings truly start after I'm done playing the game because of the connections and relationships that the game gave me that are now expeditiously expounded to me being great in other areas. So I think just the awareness that's coming with that. Young men know that if they can make it from Lenore Ryan University, they damn sure can make it from Howard University or FAMU or, Hampton or wherever else that they choose to go. We can make it at those places. I can make it there, but what those places can't give me is what I'm after. And that's the environment that we're talking about that fosters the manhood and the growth that you hope to see in our young Black people, not only just the young men in the program. We have more young ladies that work in our organization, that work in our football program, that help us be successful each and every day. That our environment, we want them to be here. We want them to help us be who we are. So I think you see it all come together, where you see this harmonious thing of Black people become better and grow, even in the sports industry and even in an environment like football.
Great. Now, transitioning back to spring ball. Now, I know you guys, the bulk of spring ball has mostly been completed. Now, who were some of the top performers or top names that has came out of, all of the spring practices that everybody should be on the lookout for in this 2025 season?
That's a really good question. And it's funny you say that. I was actually thinking about that this morning on my drive to work. Because what you try not to do is pass judgment, right? We're going into our 12th practice, 12 or 15. So we'll practice Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday, and we'll be done. But as you see the body of work and guys build, you have flash days. You see some guys day one, okay, day two. All right, guy shows up here day 3, day 4, day 5. So the challenge as a coach is to say, okay, well, he might have had a flash day here or there, but who's put the most, consistent body of work together all the way back to January, back to the weight room, back to OTAs? Who you seen that kind of change in? And I think one of the guys that we've probably seen the most growth in is one of our receivers, Saquon Osborne. He's a guy that in a position that we really needed some guys to step up that we had recruited a year ago that we thought were really talented, turned the corner, and he's turned the corner in a lot of ways. Still a work in progress, but he's been putting together a strong body of work as a guy who played a little bit of football for us last year that really needed to take a big step this year, and he has. He's still growing, obviously, both on and off the field, but he's allowing himself to feel that growth. He's allowing himself to be coached. He's become more coachable. He's moving around in a different fashion and way and handling himself in the classroom. And I think he's having one of those light bulb, aha moments where it's starting to catch on. And if he continues to build on what he's doing this spring, he's going to be a really special one for us. The other guys are two of them are two tight ends, KD Mosley and his name slipping my mind right now. I'm sitting there looking right at his face. He's in here every day. But our two tight ends are two young guys that we needed to really step up and really get going. To start making a difference as far as why we recruited them as really talented guys, and to come Nate Harris actually to do some things for us. And those guys have really stepped up. And I'm just talking on the offensive side of the ball right now. I think we made a move of one of our defensive linemen, Cam Johnson. We moved him from defensive line to offensive line, and he's been a pleasant surprise. He's a big body, 6'5" guy, 300-pound guy that's really athletic. And moving him over the offensive line has really made a difference and really made some major strides in these 11 practices to where we felt like this guy has truly found a home that he can help us and be an all-conference type guy for us here too in the future. Been really, probably the most with those guys. And then another guy, TK. I think TK has been doing a heck of a job. Travis Kearney, running back from Sebring, Florida, that, came in here and we thought was going to be super talented last year, but, waited his turn a little bit. We had two really talented backs and kind of was able to redshirt him, but now he's come out with a vengeance. He's gotten bigger, stronger, faster, more explosive, and been a pretty mainstay both in our special teams work and on offense. So those guys on offense have been, a really pleasant surprise for us. On defense, Zuri Watson, one of the young DBs, redshirt freshman, has really stepped up, man, and been lighting it up all spring as the field corner for us. And a guy that we're looking forward to helping us on special teams too, maybe even in the return game. Our linebacker core has been solid. I can go across the board and say, all of those guys have really stepped up. The biggest one has been probably Jaquavian. Jaquavian Smith has really stepped up, man. He's a 6'2", 230-pound body type that runs, hits, always in the room, learning and growing and trying to be better. And then up front to have CJ Wesley back with us. kind of our stand-up rush jack guys, 6'3", 225 pounds that run like the wind. Bad to have on the edge rushing the passer too. So he's made some major strides and somebody that we're really excited about. But excited about this football team as a whole. These guys decided that they were going to be the change. Right off the rip in January, they were very disappointed in the season we had last year. It's as close as a lot of things were. We were 4-18, but we were still, single digit, one turnover, one possession losses that showed us that we were close, but there was something that was missing. And that was just the attention to details and the discipline that it takes to be a championship team year in and year out. And when you learn how to understand that now, after coming off of the championship MEAC championship year and the Celebration Bowl berth, you no longer were, the little Howard team that everybody kind of beat up on. You were the team that everybody put an X around and circled. And now when you become the hunted, you got to learn how to always be hunting. All right. If you're always hunting, you're never the hunter. And so those guys took on that mantra and that mindset and attitude when we got back here in January and began to hunt, both in the classroom, on the field, in our community service, in our walk, and building a championship culture. These guys really went after it. And so you see a different group of young group of team. And we don't lose many guys after this year. So we're still a relatively young team, but we're talented, more detailed, and more accountable.
Great. Great. Now let's fast forward a little bit to the season opener for you guys, the Orange Blossom Classic. Now, Howard was part of the inaugural matchup in 1933. So what does it mean to you to be back in this Orange Blossom Classic?
Oh, man, I think it's huge. First of all, I think we're probably two of the biggest brands, right, along the East Coast in HBCU football. Obviously, there's some others, A&T and Hampton and those people like that. But when you talk about, when people list off probably the top 5, HBCUs, both of us are going to be in that category, I promise you. As people list them and for whatever reasons they may be, whatever facet of life it is, we're going to be mentioned in that vein. So to have an opportunity to do that in a place like Miami, Florida, on one of the opening weekends in college football. Florida's home for me. I spent 5 years living in Miami when I was coaching at the University of Miami. So it's an area that I know well. No matter whether I was at USF or Tennessee or at the University of Florida, it was an area that I also recruited. So I know all the administrators and superintendents and high school coaches and teachers and people in the area. It makes this exciting and somewhat kind of a homecoming as well, for me personally, and then some of our guys that are from the South Florida area and just Florida in general. It's an opportunity to go showcase our brand, who we are. We know that we are a national brand, but that's a region in the country that, is obviously a hotbed for high school football, in an area that when we do have young people that fit, our profile and who we are, we'd like to have an opportunity to come to Howard. We've had 3 of them here since I've been here, and they've all been major contributors, all conference guys and graduates, which is the biggest thing that we bring them here to do is make sure they graduate and have success in the classroom. So we want to showcase that brand in that area, in that game, of who we are, what we're all about, and hopefully attract some of the talent that's in that area to come, but also to just, showcase our brand, man, and who we are against Florida A&M in Miami. I mean, it's a hot ticket. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of that game and a part of the culture of that? And it's to go back to 1933 and be one of the pioneers and originators of that game and the classic taking off and the meaning that it has now, probably should show that we should always be in that game and we should always play that game and we should be a staple in that game. And so we're coming to show that we not only want to be in this game this year, we want to build a tradition-rich classic of being able to play Florida A&M and 2 big brands like that clash in the first week of college football. And those type of things I think could be exciting, not just for this game, but for on into the future and for the branding of the classic and how it continues to build and grow, amongst our fans and amongst the other HBCU conglomerate. I think it'll be a big and exciting time for us.
Okay, great.
So that was my pitch to stay in the game too, by the way. We got more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd agree with that. I feel like Howard definitely needs to be up there more. But you mentioned graduate, and that was one of the things that's being focused in your program. So what are the main things that you instill in your young men that, hey, it's not all about football. Football has to end at some point for everyone. Like, you need to go ahead and get that degree. Like, what are some of the main things that you would tell your student athletes?
Oh, man. Well, really, you just related to the growth process, right? Anything that you choose to commit yourself to, you should have competitive excellence. It's who you are, right? You don't get up in the morning and choose to be competitive and do the right thing in this area in life and then kind of do whatever you want to on the other side of your life and those type of things. Everything has to run synonymous across the board. If you're going to be a champion of everything that you do. If you're a competitor, compete at everything that you do. If you want to be the best at everything you do. If you think you're a sharp guy that dress well, get up and dress well every day. You know, if you think whatever you want to be, you can be that. Right? This up and down, inconsistent, you don't know what you're getting type of guy, type of person is going to be that all their lives. And who are you going to become and what legacy you want to leave for yourself? What do you want to be remembered as? So I present it in the way of, man, be who you are each and every day. And that's the best version of yourself. So if you want to fight to be anything in this world, you have to first figure out who you are and be the best version of what that is each and every time you get a chance to represent the name of who you are and what you represent and what you want to leave with somebody. I want to tell them every time you have an experience with someone, most people won't remember your name. Sometimes, especially if it's the first time, they won't remember your name. They won't remember you from where you're from, but what they will remember is how you made them feel in that interaction. So at the end of the day, make sure every one of those interactions, you leave something with someone. So when you walk into that classroom, make sure you leave an impression on that professor. Make sure you leave an impression on the students and other people that are around you. Make sure you go in there and you compete your tail off to be the best version of yourself each and every time. And when you look up one day and you've done that, and you've done it the right way, success will always be yours. Those are the type of people that success finds. You don't go looking for success. Success finds you when you choose how to approach it each and every day. So if you go in with the right mindset and the right mentality built around on being the best version of yourself, highly competitive, competing who you are, it becomes part of your DNA. And once you wrap that way in that type of DNA, success finds you. And so becoming a graduate, two-time graduate if you want. You know, some of these guys are finishing and they're finishing their undergrad degree and they're well on their way into having 2 years of eligibility and they're finishing with a master's degree in finance and whatever it may be, and be a two-time Howard grad. We have young men that transfer in here as grads already from Harvard University, and they have a Harvard University undergrad degree, and they're going to have a MBA from Howard University in the time that they're here. So you talk about the experience and the opportunity that's provided for you if you do it that way. You know, success finds you. You don't have to go searching for success or ducking process. If you're built that way and you got that right DNA, success will always find you.
That was great. That was great. Now, you coached at the Power 5 level previously, like you mentioned earlier, you were at Miami. So how has your personal journey shaped the way that you lead, recruit, and mentor young men at Howard?
I think, man, that's an awesome, another really good question, Zach. That's digging deeper, right? I think, when I first started out, it was because of what a coach did for me. It wasn't because of the business. It wasn't because, you can make, a good income or you can have some level of, people knowing who you are, stardom, anything like that. It was about what a coach did for me and the impact and the legacy that he left on my life. And the way that he made me feel. And made me feel like anything that I put my mind to, I could do. And so a little boy like me from Sebring, Florida, people don't even know where that is, in the middle of the state of Florida, rural area, to have some of the opportunities that were presented to me in life was because of how I was raised. And that was being raised by a man, a coach, decided to intrusively involve himself in my life. He didn't look like me, he didn't sound like me, didn't have the same color skin that I did, but he saw something in me I didn't see in myself. So it was about the impact that he left on my life that spurred me. I know I wanted to be a coach. And I tried to run from coaching a little bit early and then found the itch and got back into it and found my passion. And it's truly what I was meant to do and what I'm called to do. But, I went to the University of South Florida, and my college coach even saw something in me that I didn't see and told me all the time, you're going to be a coach. And I was like, no, I'm going to go make some real big money. I'm not going to work all these hours and recruit and do all of these type of things. Sure enough, I found myself doing it, and I did it for him at the University of South Florida for 8 years before I went on to the University of Miami, where I went as a co-offensive coordinator, and then in my third year there became the interim head coach for the last 6 games once Al Golden was released, and had a chance to, little boy from Sebring, Florida, handed the keys to a Maserati to say, here, run the program at the University of Miami, and led us to a bowl game and a Sun Bowl berth out in El Paso, Texas, and to take that brand and to take the University of Miami and that team for where we were to, gave me the urge and said, you know what, if I can do that here, I can do this anywhere. And from there, I knew to be a head coach, and I wanted to run, have an opportunity to model and build our own program. And after that opportunity, I had a chance to go on to the University of Tennessee, so another big SEC hype machine in Knoxville, Tennessee, and become the first Black offensive coordinator in that program's 132-year history at that moment. So to have a time to create that type of history as I was building my brand as a coach, lo and behold, knowing that I was just building a model for one day when I had an opportunity to take over a program. And after that, I went to the University of Florida and had a really great opportunity there with Dan Mullen, and we won a lot of games and went to a couple, New Year's Six bowl games, Orange Bowl, Peach Bowl, two-time champions in those games, and coached a lot of really good players along the way, along that journey. A lot of first-round draft picks, a lot of guys that's playing in the NFL and still playing in the NFL today that we lean on and sometimes talk to our team and those type of things. But when the opportunity came, when I was leaving the University of Florida to leave the Florida to come to Howard, it was a tough choice. And most people, it was a head scratcher for a lot of people. Like, why are you doing that? Some even I even heard of things like you committing, career suicide. Why would you take that opportunity for a program that has, perennially not done well in any fashion, really, whether that was being on academic probation or lo and behold, I didn't know that and kind of inherited that situation. But God is good. We fixed that, and now we have the highest APR in all of his HBCUs right now. So we went to work academically too. So we had a lot of work to do. You had to roll your sleeves up. But a lot of people thought, man, why are you doing that? You've always been on the fast track. You've been a head coach, an interim head coach. You've been a coordinator in the SEC. Why take on this opportunity? I mean, it was a question that I asked myself, but I've always been, attached myself to using my spiritual side and using my gut feeling. And I truly believe that this was a unique opportunity to take all of what I have been given and the opportunities that I have been given to leave legacy, to make an impact. I just didn't want to continue to coach the hype machines, right? Just coaching situations because of a name of a school or, the amount of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars they're paying coaches and these things these days. It meant more to me to go give back to what was given to me, to a unique brand and a unique place that no one would give a chance to. No one could believe could win. No one could believe could be two-time champions. No one could believe can fix their APR and have enough good players that are good students too as well. So it was a unique situation to take all of what's been given to me, surround myself with really good people that believe in the same things that I believe in, and build a brand. And we've been doing that here at Howard, and we still got a lot of work to do, but man, excited about what we are, where we are, what we're doing. And we have a new landscape we're going into that also gives us a very unique space in this new transfer portal NIL world that I think we're going to be able to surround ourselves with and use to our advantage, and it will be advantageous for us to keep building this program into a championship powerhouse. So I wanted the unique situation. I wanted all the smoke. I wanted all the heat. I knew it came with the risk, but the risk is the reward here. And what you do and how you do it and who you do it with is far more better than the money or the claim or the clout or any of those things.
Absolutely. And you certainly do have an opportunity to leave a great legacy at Howard University. Well, Coach Scott, I definitely appreciate your time, man, and definitely be looking to the Orange Blossom Classic. So who you got winning that one?
I tell you what, let's just say there's a whole of a get back type of attitude and mindset around here. We felt like we kind of let one go. We left something in Atlanta over a year ago when we played them down there in the Celebration Bowl. Kind of got duped there in the end with a trick play that led to a 34-point differential and a win for them after being ahead the whole game. So a lot of these guys that were there and a part of that got a bitter taste in their mouth. And let's just say that we're going to be fired up for this one. We're going to be excited for this one. And definitely they're going to give, our best shot. And I really feel like our best shot's going to be good enough. So I want to tilt the odds in the hand of how we're going down to Miami and taking care of business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, all right, Coach. I appreciate you. We definitely will be watching.
Absolutely, Zach. I appreciate the interview, man. Nice job.
Absolutely.